What's going on, everyone? So Goat Palinka just continues to just capture W's. Like, he is stacking up a large treasure chest of just W's this season or this offseason. Everything from keeping the main core and now the full main core intact, to extending Anthony Davis, to getting all of this talent, all of these new players, even landing Christian Wood when many people thought it wasn't going to happen. Although myself, I personally thought it made the most sense for him and the Lakers. Thought it was a good win-win. But the latest W was the Jarred Vanderbilt deal. And it is shocking to me, first off, that people think Rob Pelinka overpaid for literally, by like every metric, the best on-ball defender in the entire league. Like, I get he is, based on last season, just an on-ball specialist, but he's more than that, right? Like, I mean, he still gave us like 8 and 8, or it was like 7.5 and 7.5 or something like that, if you want to be real specific, right? Like, the guy still has a lot of impact on that game of basketball. And if you think he's nothing more than just a defensive specialist, I don't know what to tell you. He's not like a great offensive player. He is our worst offensive player, right? But the impact, the hustle, the little things that he does is remarkable. Go look up some of your favorite stars, superstars, that are busting every elite defensive guy in the league's behind, and go look at their stats against Jarred Vanderbilt and tell me Jarred Vanderbilt isn't the best defensive player in the league. The dude is ridiculous. And he has been in the lab non-stop. These images are recent from just the other day. He has been in the lab working on his three-point shooting, his shooting period. And look, he's nowhere near a finished product, right? Like, the guy is still extremely young, extremely talented. He needs to work on some things. Like, the 3 things that I really wanted to see Jarred Vanderbilt work on is obviously the three-point shooting. But beyond the three-point shooting, I really want to see him work on his handling, his ball handling, which, if you watch some of the scrimmage footage that recently came, it looked like he's worked on that. Like, he was looking good. Cross dudes up, taking guys off the dribble, getting to the basket. Like, and I really want to be able to see him catch it off the rebound and just go. Like, not have to wait. Right? We saw him do that a little bit last year, but he wasn't very comfortable in that position. Like, I would like to see him just like Lamar Odom that thing, right? Just get the ball, go coast to coast, lay it up over the defense. That would just be beautiful, right? This is a guy that still shot 54.8% from the field. Like I said, 7.9 points, 7.5 rebounds, 2.4 assists last year, and 24 years old. So he's nowhere near a finished product. And this deal is only going to continue to improve and get better. And you got him for $12 million a year. $12 million a year. Now, look, from the three-point range, he only shot 30%, 30.3% for the Lakers, right? He actually shot 33.3% for the Jazz. So he had a little drop-off from the Lakers. We know how that goes. It's like every time anybody shoots anything respectable, right, from 3, all of a sudden, not that 33% is respectable, but it's better than 30.5. But here's the caveat here. He literally doubled his three-point percentage in 1 year. He went from 14.3% to 30.3% for the Lakers. For the total of last year, it was 32.2%. So he more than doubled. He like 2.5 times his three-point percentage. Now, I'm not expecting him to do that this year, because then he'd be shooting like 60% from 3. And if he shoots 60% from 3, then this guy is like a $500 million a year player. No, but on a serious note, his ability to just be, I don't need him to be elite. I don't need him to be, Austin Reeves level efficiency. Right? I don't need him to shoot 40% from 3. Would it be nice? Would we welcome it and love it? Absolutely. I just need him to be respectable enough to where defenses cannot sag off of them. I mean, we were literally playing 4-on-5 on the offensive end in the playoffs, because teams would just leave him wide open in the corner, and he would just shoot some threes if he made them, You live with it. If he didn't, you lived with it, right? And the reason I want him to work on his hands is because how many times did we see him, the defense would forget about him. He'd take a beeline straight to the basket, beautiful pass. He'd either fumble the bag or he would just lose the ball or not properly secure it and hit the bottom of the rim or just blow the layup or whatever. Like that was never a good look, right? So I want him to work on his hands. But this was a above value signing. But the thing that it did for the Lakers, right, is it took all of the potential question marks and all of the potential negative buzz and the potential of lack of continuity and security out of the picture, right? Because it's the same thing I said about the Anthony Davis extension, right? Because they could have waited and some people wanted to see the Lakers wait. No, you don't. Why? Because the Lakers have a championship level roster and their goal right now is championship or bust. They don't need any distractions, any drawn up nonsense media. They don't need anything that could potentially be a distraction. The Lakers now have everybody locked up. There's no question marks about is Jarred Vanderbilt going to get that extension? Or the Lakers going to look to trade him? Right? Like there's going to be trade rumors. There's going to be all the talk, especially primarily around D'Lo, right? Because they got him to waive his no trade clause. And I mean, the moment that happened, there's still been trade rumors even to this day, right? But you remove a lot of just the unnecessary distractions. You have Jarred Vanderbilt. He can now just focus on going and playing basketball, right? He doesn't have to worry about, impressing the Lakers and trying to do too much or, feeling isolated in the locker room because he doesn't have a contract and it's like the Lakers don't value him or whatever. Like you never know what guys are thinking in their heads, right? He's still a kid, right? Like now, again, he can just go out and hoop. Go out and hoop. The other thing is this sets us up for the future in a multitude of ways, right? This Lakers roster is absolutely stacked. And yes, they have several guys that aren't locked up long-term, right? Jackson Hayes, what happens with him? Is he kind of one and done this year? Cam Reddish, Taurean Prince, right? You got to re-sign Christie. That'll be interesting to see how that works out. And although they'd be in kind of the same boat as an Austin Reeves. And then Christian Wood, right? Christian Wood, if he's even half decent and actually buys in and doesn't become a headache, he's probably getting paid. Here's the thing, though, is let's say the Lakers win the championship this year. You know how the Lakers could keep everybody? LeBron James. LeBron James could easily opt out and fix everything. Make sure everyone gets the money and run it back. Right? Maybe you make a little tweak here and there, whatever. But for the most part, right? Like if Christian Wood is that good for the Lakers and they need to pay him, D'Lo's money, they can do that. Right? It boils down to LeBron and what he's willing to take. Not saying he would take, the vet minimum or anything like that. But if he had to take, say, $25 million to keep Hayes and Wood and Prince, because those three guys play big roles in them winning an NBA championship. If he has number 5, you don't think he'll do that to go get number 6? Of course he would. He could play for free next year and it wouldn't matter, right? Now, granted, they'd have to win it. If the Lakers lose in the first round or something like that, he's not going to do that. But he has the capability of doing that, right? But what this does is, even if you lose those guys, you still have Gabe Vincent, Austin Reeves, D'Lo, Rui Hachimura. You will have Christie, Jarred Vanderbilt, Anthony Davis, LeBron James. That's 8 guys that you have locked up for the foreseeable future. 8 core guys that when LeBron's ready to leave, you'll still have 7 core guys that are championship level guys. And you don't think another superstar is going to go, I go to Lakers. I have Anthony Davis. I'd have Jarred Vanderbilt. I'd have Austin Reeves. D'Lo, Christie, Gabe Vincent, right? Rui Hachimura. And you add me, maybe we can win the next like 3 championships. Of course. Giannis's contract lines up perfectly with LeBron, or it can if he opts out, right? Like perfectly. You don't think the Lakers are going to position themselves for that? Of course. That's why they are getting all these contracts at bargains and stuff like that. They got an absolute steal in Reeves' contract. They got a great value in Gabe Vincent's contract, right? They got a little, you can make an argument, the only person that they really kind of overpaid for was Rui, but I don't really think that they overpaid for him, right? I think his contract in retrospect will be fair value, but he was probably around like 15 to, 17 million maybe, and they paid 17 and a half, 18 million. So maybe they overpaid like $1 million. Like, who cares, right? Again, forget the noise. Keep everybody locked up. This is huge for the future for the Lakers. And who's to say, Max Christie doesn't evolve into like a star, or if Jarred Vanderbilt becomes a 38% three-point shooter at some point. Now he's the best 3-and-D player in the entire league. And maybe Rui Hachimura is able to be a 25-point a game. Like, who knows? Maybe Lakers might not even need another star. What if some of these guys become stars? They're all still very young. They're all still very talented. This just removes all of the noise and all of the nonsense. And worst case scenario, it gives you tradable pieces, right? You could take D'Lo and Vando if you needed to, and there's $30 million in tradable salary, almost $31 million in tradable salary, and you could go get another star if you wanted to, right? Just throwing a name out there. Don't take this like as gospel or anything, but what if Dallas doesn't work out with Kyrie Irving and they want to unload Kyrie? You could literally trade D'Lo and Jarred Vanderbilt, go get Kyrie Irving, and you would have basically the same exact roster you have right now. Yes, it would suck to lose Vando, but you still have Taurean Prince and Cam Reddish and Rui Hachimura, and right, and then add Kyrie Irving. You're not beating that team. You're not beating this team with Kyrie Irving. Like, this roster we have right now, if you swap Kyrie for D'Lo and Vanderbilt, you're not beating this Lakers roster. You're just not. Like, the only way that they lose is if the team falls apart. Like the end of the Warriors run, right? Where like everybody just started falling apart, right? Like, again, I'm not saying I want to trade Vando. I'm not saying the Lakers should trade Vando. I'm not saying anything like that. All I'm saying is that he is on a reasonable contract where pretty much every team in the league would trade for him, because they didn't overpay for him to where it's like you're hoping he becomes, 3 times the player he is, right? I mean, he could have gotten a 4-year, $75 million deal. They basically gave him half of what he could have gotten. And some team somewhere might have actually given it to him, right? Like a team like the Spurs, who have like $80 million in cap space that need to unload, that need to start like using some of it over the next few years. You don't think that they would have maybe gave Vando a little more money in the offseason? Right? Maybe they don't give him the full $75 million, but they might have given him somewhere, around, maybe they gave him $60 million, right? Or something like that. I'm just saying, like, the Lakers got an absolute steal. Like the going rate, even if he got the $75 million, it's 18.5 million a year, somewhere in that ballpark, right? I think it's like 18.75 million, something like that, right? But even if that happened, I still think it would be worth it, just because of what his impact is on the basketball court for the Lakers and the way he fits so seamlessly with this roster. And I'm telling you, there would have been a team that probably would have came close to that just to get him off the Lakers. So this was huge for the Lakers. This was something that was very important. And it puts the Lakers in such a great position because it gives them so much flexibility for the future. They're going to have cap space, right? Because when LeBron's contract is up, so is D'Lo's. The Lakers, depending on how much the cap goes up, because when LeBron's contract is up, the cap is supposed to have a huge spike. 2025 season, the cap is supposed to like really shoot up, right? Because that's when all like the new TV deals and stuff like that kick in. Who knows? Like what if the Lakers have this roster and they have like 40 plus million in cap space because LeBron's off the books and his 50 million, D'Lo's off the books and his 18 million, and you basically have like the core guys that you have. You have Gabe Vincent on a final year of his deal, so you could always just unload him if you needed to. I'm sure a team would gladly take him and clear more salary space if you wanted to. And, plus the salary spike, who knows how much money that they could have, right? Like, so you could have this entire roster, enough money to go sign a max player, and on top of that, still go get several other key guys. I mean, the Lakers are set. The Lakers are golden. This was huge. This was just another step in that direction. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Do you agree with my points? Do you disagree? Love to hear it. Let me know.